killed my cat and said it was just an animal. So I ruined his life piece by piece. You ever lose something you loved so much it felt like someone ripped out your soul? That was me when my cat Jasper was killed. Not just killed, murdered, by the one guy in the neighborhood who thought it was hilarious to torment animals. His name was Mike. Just Mike. Plain and boring name like the monster he was. Jasper wasn't just a cat. He was my shadow, my therapist, my best friend after my parents split and left me with nothing but cold silence and cheap furniture. He had this scruffy orange fur and a purr that could drown out the worst storms inside my head. So when Mike crushed him like a bug on purpose, saying, "It's just an animal, get over it," something inside me cracked. I didn't just want Mike to feel sorry. I wanted to dismantle him, strip away everything he loved, and make sure he spent every waking second paying for what he did. And not just pay, suffer deeply. Mike thrived on attention, always the loudest at the bar, the funny guy at parties, and the center of every stupid conversation. So step one was to turn his world silent. I started by hacking into his social accounts, changing passwords, deleting all his contacts. Then I spread subtle rumors, nothing obvious, but enough to make people avoid him. He's dangerous. You can't trust him. You know how fast gossip runs when it's mixed with a dash of fear? Within weeks, Mike was a ghost. Bars stopped calling him back. Old friends stopped returning texts, and every party invitation stopped arriving. The funny guy was suddenly the quiet one no one remembered. Mike worked as a delivery driver for a local courier company, a decent enough gig for someone with no skills. But I had a plan. I made a fake email, posed as an angry client, and complained about Mike stealing packages. Then I called HR anonymously with fake evidence, photoshopped images of Mike stuffing boxes in his trunk, packages marked as missing. The company launched an investigation. Guess who was suspended without pay right before Christmas? Mike. He begged to explain, but nobody listened. Weeks dragged on, bills piled up, and his phone calls to the company went straight to voicemail. Mike was a street-smart, arrogant guy who thought he could handle himself, but I wanted to remind him how fragile he really was. One rainy night, I followed him home. Not to attack. No, that's too easy and boring. Instead, I rigged a slick patch on his driveway with oil and a few carefully placed nails beneath the leaves. When Mike pulled in, his car skidded, the tires shredded, his leg slipped, and he fell hard enough to shatter his ankle. Ambulance, surgery, and months of crutches followed. No one helped him. His pathetic cries for sympathy were met with cold stares. While he was laid up, I sent anonymous letters to neighbors claiming Mike was abusing animals and kids in the building. The cops knocked on his door. They found nothing, but the damage was done. People watched, judged, and whispered. Mike's proudest possession was a vintage motorcycle he showed off at every chance. It was more than a bike. It was his identity. So I targeted it. One night, I broke into his garage and smashed the bike's engine and frame with a sledgehammer. Then, I posted photos of the destruction to the neighborhood group chat. Rest in pieces, Mike's freedom. I added a little emoji, a broken heart, because why not rub salt in wounds? He raged, screaming at walls and neighbors. But by then, nobody cared. Even his own sister stopped answering his calls. Mike once bragged to me about how nothing could touch him, how he was untouchable, because he had a secret no one knew. The ultimate trump card. Well, turns out I found that secret. A long-forgotten criminal record for assault he tried to hide when applying for his job. I leaked it to his employer, the landlord, the bar, even the local police. Suddenly, Mike wasn't just the weirdo nobody liked. He was a dangerous ex-con with a history. Doors slammed in his face everywhere. Last I heard, Mike was living in a rat-infested motel room, too broken to fight back or beg for mercy. And I sometimes drive past that dump and laugh, because Jasper wasn't just an animal. And Mike? Well, Mike's existence is about as meaningful as a broken toy left in the rain. Karma didn't kill Jasper. Mike did, but I made sure karma took its sweet time, piece by piece, until he was nothing but a shadow himself. And honestly, if you ask me, that's poetic justice served cold, with a side of eternal suffering. Rest in peace, Jasper.